This is the first in my series on the names of God. I really like just studying and understanding who God is by looking at his name and just the significance of it throughout the entire Old Testament. The best place to start with a series like this is obviously in the beginning. The very first time that God's name ever shows up in the Bible is the very first verse of the very first book, Genesis 1:1. Says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." I think it's interesting looking at this. At the significance of this, because it's just the very power of it. In the beginning, God. What I really like about this name, about the name used here, is in the Hebrew, but the word is Elohim. So in the beginning, Elohim. And what's significant about this word is that it's, while what we translate it to be is God, is a singular, it's not actually a singular word. It's not like when we talk about ourselves, we say I. It's not like that. It's not I went to the store, or I was at home, or something like that. This is actually a singularly plural word. What does that mean? Basically, that would be similar to saying, you or I saying, I went to the store myself, or we made that myself. Something like that. It's a singular word in that it's talking about one thing. But it's a plural in that it's referring to that one thing in multiples. And so it's like saying, I went to the store by myself. I mean, does that make a whole lot of sense? It's just really interesting. And then you look in John 1:1, and it says, "In the beginning was the Word was with God, the Word was God." He was with God in the beginning. And so that's talking about Christ, and how he was a part of God, and how he was as God. God and Christ were one together in the beginning. And so when you look at this word Elohim, you look at the significance of it, and it's a singular word, but it's a plural word. And it very much fits with what it says, talked about in John 1:1, about how Christ, the Word, was with God and the Word was God. They were one and the same, but they were together. And so it just really has a major significance there. And so in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And the earth was without form and void. And so it goes through this narrative, this story about how God existed in the beginning and nothing else existed. And then how he created the heavens and the earth, and what didn't have a form, it was just this formless thing. And how he turned around and he created dark and light. And then from that dark and light, he turned around and created land. And land and water. And how each of these things is needed, how it's this very poetic, very structured, very artistic, it's a poetry, a very structured poetry, and each piece interconnects and needs each other. For instance, water without heat, without light, is what? It's ice. And nothing can live on ice. Ice is barren. Well, obviously some animals can live on ice, but we need water to survive. Plants need water to survive. Animals need water to survive. If it was just plain ice, nothing would be able to exist. And so God created the light and the darkness. And then he created the land and the water. And the land and the water needed the light in order to exist as it needed to exist. And then from there, he created the plants. The plants need the water and need the darkness and the light. And then from there, he formed the light into night and day. He separated the light, night and day. He created the sun, the moon, the stars, and so on and so forth. And he goes on and talks about how from that he created the fish of the sea that need the land, they need the night, they need the light and the darkness, they need the heat, they need all of these things. They need the fish and the birds, and then the animals. And so each day it's a progression, building each piece, building on top of the pieces that came before it. And so all of this comes together and is a structure, but it's it's a structure with these laws of physics, yet that is massively complex. Even a simple cell is more complex than the most complex computer ever created. And so you have this simple cell that is massively complex, yet is the basis of plants and animals and all these things. So it's extremely complex structures, yet at the same time, it's this just beautiful, artistic piece that comes together. And so you have the God that created, you have this God that it is in the beginning God. Nothing else existed, it was God. It was Elohim. It was this singular, plural, complex, simple God. And then from that, he turned around and he created this structure. Light and darkness. Land. Plants. So on and so forth. I mean, the fourth day parallels the first day. It's the light becoming all the sun and the moon and stars and so on and so forth. And the fifth day parallels the second day. From the water and the sky comes the birds and the fish. Then the third day parallels the sixth day and so on and so forth. And so he created this beautiful structure of absolute amazing beauty. And then turned around on the last day and said, he stopped working and he rested. And so it's just this beautiful, amazing picture of how God takes nothing and creates this massively amazing, beautiful creation that is so simple and yet so very complex. From the simplicity of plants and animals coexisting to the complexity of a simple cell being more powerful and more complex than the most complex and powerful supercomputer we have on the planet. And so we're looking at this beautiful, amazing thing. And all it comes from, in the beginning, God. In the beginning, Elohim. So this amazingly complex thing, spent 6 days creating and 1 day resting. So what does this mean for us? What does it mean? It means that God created us. God is the God, Elohim is the God of structure and art. He sets the example for us. We as a people have this passion for art and for structure and for just all these things, understanding. He created that. He set the example for us to work 6 days and to take 1 day of rest. It is just this absolutely beautiful thing, and we need to take it and understand that all of this was done for a purpose. That all of this was created and done for a purpose. So that is, God is the God of the beginning. God is Elohim. He is God.